My name is Sophie, and I'm 27 years old. For 2 whole years, everyone thought I was losing my mind. My boyfriend Jake, his best friend Marcus, and even my own roommate Kelly made me believe I was going crazy. It started with little things that didn't make sense. My phone would die even though I just charged it. Money disappeared from my wallet. My car keys ended up in strange places I never left them. Every single time I brought it up, they looked at me like I was broken. Jake would sigh and say, "Sophie, you're just stressed." Marcus would laugh it off. Kelly would pat my shoulder and whisper, "Maybe you should see someone." But I knew something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. I just didn't know how wrong things really were. Things got stranger as months passed. I'd find texts on my phone I never sent. My boss called me about emails I never wrote. Bills showed up for subscriptions I never ordered. Every time I questioned it, the 3 of them acted like I was imagining things. "You probably just forgot," Jake would say with that concerned look. Marcus started calling me Spacey Sophie behind my back. I heard him through the walls. Kelly began leaving mental health pamphlets on the kitchen counter. First I thought maybe they were right. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe I was forgetting things. I even scheduled a doctor's appointment to check if something was medically wrong with me. The doctor said I was perfectly healthy. That's when the fear really started to creep in. If I wasn't sick, then what was happening to me? Why couldn't I trust my own memory anymore? It was a Tuesday night when things finally broke. I came home from work exhausted and found all 3 of them in the living room. They were huddled around Jake's laptop, whispering. When I walked in, they slammed it shut. The guilty looks on their faces said everything. "What's going on?" I asked. Jake stood up quickly. "Nothing, babe. We were just looking at funny videos." But Marcus couldn't hide his smirk. Kelly looked at the floor. Something clicked in my brain. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. I felt my hands start shaking, but I kept my voice calm. "Show me the laptop," I said. Jake laughed nervously. "Sophie, come on. You're being paranoid again." That word. Paranoid. They'd used it so many times that I almost believed it. Almost. But this time I didn't back down. I reached for the laptop and Jake pulled it away. That's when I knew for sure. They were hiding something big. After that night I decided to play along. I acted normal and confused just like they expected. But secretly I started paying attention to everything. I noticed Marcus typing on his phone every time I left the room. I saw Kelly taking pictures of my stuff when she thought I wasn't looking. Jake started locking his computer with a password he'd never used before. I bought a small notebook and wrote down everything strange that happened. Times, dates, what they said, how they acted. I kept it hidden in my gym bag because I knew they were going through my things. One day, I pretended to take a nap and listened through my bedroom door. I heard them laughing in the kitchen. "She actually thought she sent those emails," Marcus said. My heart stopped. Kelly giggled. "This is almost too easy." I wanted to burst out and confront them right then. But something told me to wait. I needed real proof. I needed to catch them completely. I started checking Jake's laptop when he was in the shower. I didn't know his password, but I tried common ones based on things I knew about him. On my 5th try, it worked. His mom's birthday plus his dog's name. My hands were sweating as I opened his folders. What I found made my stomach drop. There was a folder labeled SP Project. Inside were dozens of files. Screenshots of my social media. Photos of my credit cards. Scanned copies of my signature. Documents with my name on them that I'd never seen before. There were even fake text conversations they'd created to make it look like I was unstable. I took pictures of everything with my phone, my hands shaking so hard I could barely hold it steady. I heard the shower turn off and quickly closed everything. When Jake came out, I was sitting on the couch pretending to watch TV. He kissed my head like nothing was wrong. Like he wasn't destroying my entire life. 2 days later I checked my bank account and nearly screamed. There were charges I didn't recognize. A loan I never took out. Credit cards I never opened. Thousands of dollars were moving in and out of accounts I didn't even know existed. I called the bank immediately, and they told me everything was linked to my social security number and ID. But I didn't open these accounts, I said. The woman on the phone paused. Ma'am, we have your signature on file. And applications submitted from your email address. Felt sick. They weren't just messing with my head. They were stealing my identity. They were ruining my credit, my finances, my entire future. When I confronted Jake that night, he acted shocked. Are you sure you didn't forget? You've been so scattered lately. I wanted to scream. Instead, I said I'd look into it. But I knew exactly who was responsible. And now I needed to prove it. I went to the store and bought a cheap voice recorder. I hid it in the living room bookshelf behind some old DVDs nobody touched. Then I left for work like normal. When I came home and listened to the recording, I heard everything. Marcus. How much longer are we doing this? Jake. Until we max out the credit lines. Then we'll pin it all on her and disappear. Kelly. What if she figures it out? Jake. She won't. Everyone already thinks she's losing it. Who's going to believe her? I listened to that recording 5 times, tears streaming down my face. The person I loved, the person I trusted, was destroying me on purpose. For money. I wanted to run. I wanted to call the police right then. But I knew I needed more. I needed them caught in the act, with proof so solid they couldn't talk their way out of it. I couldn't go to the police myself because I had no idea if they'd believe me. Everyone in my life already thought I was confused and unstable. So I did something smarter. I called the bank's fraud department from a payphone and left an anonymous tip. I gave them my name, my account numbers, and said someone was committing identity theft. I told them to check the IP addresses of where the applications came from. I told them to look at the handwriting on the signatures. Then I called a lawyer who specialized in fraud cases. I told her everything and showed her the photos and recordings I'd collected. She looked at me seriously and said, "You need to be very careful. These people are dangerous. But you've done good work collecting this evidence." She agreed to help me build a case. Finally, someone believed me. Finally, I wasn't fighting alone anymore. The lawyer said it would take time, but justice was coming. For 3 weeks, I had to pretend everything was fine. I came home and kissed Jake like I loved him. I made dinner and laughed at Marcus's jokes. I chatted with Kelly about normal roommate stuff. But inside I was screaming. Every smile felt like poison. Every conversation felt like a lie. Jake kept asking if I was okay. "You seem distant," he said one night. I looked him right in the eyes and said, "I'm just tired from work." He bought it. They all did. 'Cause they thought I was stupid. They thought I'd never figure it out. The lawyer told me the bank was investigating. She told me to keep gathering evidence and stay safe. I bought a lock for my bedroom door. I stopped eating anything Kelly cooked because I didn't trust her anymore. I was living in my own home like a prisoner, counting down the days until everything exploded. Finally, the call came. The lawyer said, "It's time. The bank has flagged all the fraudulent accounts. Police are involved. We're ready." She arranged for everything to happen on a Saturday morning. I was told to act completely normal and invite Jake, Marcus, and Kelly to have breakfast together at the apartment. I made pancakes, my hands shaking as I flipped them. They all sat around the table, laughing and talking like we were a happy family. Then came the knock on the door. Jake said, "Who's that?" Smiled. "Why don't you get it?" When he opened the door, 2 police officers and a fraud investigator stepped inside. The look on Jake's face was something I'll never forget. Pure shock. Then panic. Marcus tried to stand up, but an officer told him to sit down. Kelly started crying immediately. The investigator looked at me and nodded. "Ms. Sophie, thank you for your cooperation in this investigation." The investigator laid out printed documents on the table. Bank statements, forged signatures, email records, IP address logs that proved every fraudulent application came from our apartment. Jake tried to lie. "This is insane. Sophie's been confused lately. Maybe she..." The officer cut him off. "We have recordings, Mr. Jake. We have everything." I pulled out my phone and played the clip I'd recorded of them talking about maxing out credit cards and pinning it on me. Kelly's face went white. Marcus put his head in his hands. Jake looked at me with pure hatred. You recorded us. I stared back at him, feeling stronger than I had in years. You tried to destroy my life. Did you really think I'd just let you? The officers arrested all three of them right there in my living room. Identity theft, fraud, conspiracy. As they were walked out in handcuffs, Jake shouted back at me. You'll regret this. I whispered, no. You will. Over the next few weeks, everything unraveled. The investigation revealed that Jake had been planning this for over a year. He'd met Marcus and Kelly online in some sketchy forum about financial scams. They'd targeted me specifically because I had good credit and a stable job. Kelly had become my roommate on purpose. Marcus had pretended to be Jake's childhood friend. Everything was a lie. They'd been gaslighting me intentionally, making me seem unstable so that when the fraud was discovered, everyone would think I'd done it to myself during a mental breakdown. They were going to disappear with the money and leave me with the debt and ruined reputation. But they got sloppy. They got too confident. And I caught them. The bank reversed all the fraudulent charges. My credit was restored. I got a restraining order against all three of them. The hardest part was facing everyone who hadn't believed me. My co-workers who'd whispered about my episodes. My friends who'd slowly stopped calling because they thought I was unstable. My own parents who'd suggested therapy. I didn't yell at them. I didn't rub it in their faces. I just quietly told them the truth. Some people apologized. Some felt terrible. Others tried to act like they'd always believed me, which was worse than the doubt. My mom cried and said, "I'm so sorry I didn't listen." My best friend from college said, "I should have trusted you. I should have known." I forgave them, but something had changed inside me. I learned that people will believe a lie if it's repeated enough times. I learned that looking crazy and being crazy are two very different things. And I learned to trust myself, even when the whole world says I'm wrong. Jake, Marcus, and Kelly all faced serious charges. Their trial was quick because the evidence was overwhelming. The lawyer I'd hired helped me file a civil lawsuit on top of the criminal charges. I wanted them to pay for every single thing they'd put me through. In court, Jake tried to claim I was in on it. His lawyer argued I'd helped plan everything and was now turning on them. But the recordings proved otherwise. The timestamps proved otherwise. My bank records and work schedule proved I couldn't have been involved. The judge wasn't buying any of their excuses. Jake got 4 years in prison. Marcus got 3. Kelly got 2 years plus probation because she cooperated with investigators. I also won my civil case. They were ordered to pay me back every cent they stole, plus damages for emotional distress. I knew I'd probably never see most of that money. But it didn't matter. Watching them lose everything felt better than any check ever could. It's been 8 months since everything happened. I moved to a new apartment in a different part of the city. I got a new job where nobody knows my story. I'm rebuilding my life piece by piece, and it feels good. Sometimes I still get nervous when small things go wrong. My phone dies and I panic for a second. I misplace my keys and my heart races. The trauma doesn't just disappear overnight. But I'm healing. I started seeing a therapist not because I'm unstable, but because I survived something terrible and need help processing it. I've learned that asking for help is strength, not weakness. People ask me if I regret trusting Jake. Honestly, well, I regret that he was the kind of person who'd do this, but I don't regret being someone who trusts and loves openly. They tried to make me doubt myself. They tried to make me small and scared. But I fought back. I believed in myself when no one else did. And that's something they can never take away. If you're reading this and something feels wrong in your life, trust that feeling. You're not crazy. You're not imagining it. And you deserve to be believed.